So, Mark, did you see that tweet about mermaids? I originally thought that it had been 10 years. It's not quite 10 years, but can you believe it's been almost 10 years since it closed?
I mean, as much as I love Circa, I do miss the old school of Fremont and kind of when it was a little more seedy and just a little more fun, a little more innocent, I guess, in a way. Yeah, I do miss it, but I know why you really, really miss it.
Cocktail servers? I mean, great cocktail service there back in the day.
No, it's Glitter Gulch, man. You miss going there.
So, we like to talk about the airport a lot on this show. And I also recently talked about the Mom Museum and how cool that is. And what if you put those two things together, Mark, and the best airport in the country becomes even better? The Mom Museum, they opened like a small museum outpost at the airport along with a shop. I guess it's mostly to sell merch, but this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is a good addition to the airport and gives the Mob Museum out there a little bit more for all the people that are transitioning through or into and out of Vegas. I still don't think it's as well known as it probably should be. And a lot of people come to Vegas and probably don't even know that it's there to go check out. So I think this will add a bit to more discovery for people. And then also maybe they can get a cool souvenir on the way out.
Yeah, it gives you something to do at the airport other than gamble, I guess. And, we have lots of cool stuff. It looks like they did a great job. So one of the greatest discussions on this show over the years has been tipping. And we bring it up from time to time because everybody has a different opinion. And I don't know, some people would say there's no wrong answers, but I think some people would say there's definitely some wrong answers as far as not tipping enough. But Easy Vegas, I saw them tweet this out that they had updated their tipping guide and said that they based their tips on what a living wage would be for the tipped employees. And you said it looks like it came from 1975.
No, I said 90s. Don't be too harsh.
I think Vital Vegas might have said 1975. It was somewhere, somebody said that.
Yeah, this is an old school throwback. I don't know. Some of the tips I was surprised at how low they were, and others I felt were high. It's kind of all over the place. I feel like, oh, okay, $1 a drink. I feel like that was 2010 type of thing. I don't think people would be too happy with $1 a drink nowadays. At least if it's like a mixed drink or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of all over the place, just like tipping discussions always are.
Yeah, and I don't have great answers for all of these, but let's go through them. Front desk, $20 for the $20 trick. As we know, that may or may not work depending on the property. I guess at a lower end property, depending on the night, how much the room rate is, all of that sort of stuff, $20 could still work. Maids, housekeeping, $6 per room per day, probably a little low compared to what most people are doing, but I bet there's a lot of people tipping far less than that. Bellhops, $1 to $2 a bag. That feels a little low. Cocktail servers, $1 every 1 to 2 drinks. So I will say that you should tip $2 for every drink. But if you get, let's say, a drink and a water, then just tip $2 for both of those. The water doesn't count as an extra drink. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll grab, if like they're walking by with water on their tray and I grab a couple, I'll give them $1 for that. But like you said, if you're getting a drink and a water, I don't necessarily tip extra for the water. Oftentimes I'll tip heavy the first time. If they bring me a beer, I'll give them $5 and then maybe $1 per beer after that if I'm only having a couple more, but that gets them coming back a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think tipping more up front, that's a great strategy. Give them a big tip in your first round and then they will come back. And, just remember a couple extra bucks. You're gambling a lot of money. A couple extra bucks for the cocktail server can make the difference, especially in busy times. I was just on the Strip and it was almost impossible to find a cocktail server at Caesar's Palace, even with good tips. So sometimes it doesn't work, but you guys can look through this. But here's the last one I'll go over. Street performers, $2 to $4. I think you're going to get beat up by the street performers if you tip that, that little.
Maybe $20 to $40.
Yeah, is anybody? I mean, they won't accept $2 to $4. They would legally have to, but as we've talked about, they can get pretty aggressive, and certainly the monks, they want more than $2 to $4 for those bracelets.
I would just say avoid street performers at all costs.
I saw a monk on the bridge the other day. I was walking across, and I told you, I was like, oh, I want to grab the bracelet so bad. One of these days, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to be viral all over social media for getting in a fight with a fake monk.
As you fall down the escalator that isn't working.
None of them are working, Mark. None of them are working. So speaking of the Strip, Cromwell, we are in the middle of this redesign for Vanderpump, and they talked about it and never gave us a date, but I saw this from Mark Meltzer, but I also went and verified it that if you go to Caesars to book the Cromwell after February 15th, you can't book it. So I'm assuming that's when it's closing to transition to Vanderpump.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we haven't gotten any type of word of when it's going to happen, how long it's going to be closed, what exactly they're going to be doing. You think that they'd be ramping this up, have a lot of publicity around it. I mean, it's a big name, it's a big overhaul, and it's kind of clandestine. It's weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was there this week, and I'll tell you, Caesars property is so busy because of the 10x multiplier this week. So typically a slow week in Vegas, it's packed. And I saw the Cromwell packed full of people like it was a Friday or Saturday night on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, and Cromwell wasn't all that busy after the fireworks on New Year's Eve when we went in there. It didn't seem the bar had a lot of open seats at the tables. So it didn't quite draw people in there. And a lot of people were still outside kind of walking around and whatever. But we noticed in Venetian Palazzo, it was crazy busy. So it's good to see that this is bringing them in.
And while I was down on the Strip, if you didn't follow me on social media, you would have seen some of this stuff. But let's talk about Caesars' new day club, Omnia Day Club. And I shared some construction photos, took some videos of what it looks like. As I said, I don't know about this. I don't really like the way that it's blocking out the front of Caesars Palace.
And that's kind of what we've talked about a lot of Vegas doing and all this stuff. That's what they have room for. In the olden days, they had a big rollout to the entrance of the casino. It was kind of grand. It was off into the distance, so you got like a really good view of the building and just the scope of everything. And now they're taking up that real estate, trying to make money in every square footage they have. We've seen it over at the Horseshoe, and now we see it over at Caesars. I don't love that this is happening to Vegas. I understand from a business perspective why they're doing it, but I think it takes away some of the lore of Vegas or some of the over the topness, and it just feels more like you're walking down a city street now.
As long as they don't get rid of the fountains and the shrine out in the front, I'm good with that. Because just a reminder to people, if you go into that area where the shrine is and the fountains, this is one of the most beautiful, peaceful areas of Vegas. Most pedestrians don't go this way. And even though your steps from Hell's Kitchen, steps from the front of Caesars Palace, it's great. And I hope that they do that. But yeah, it's piecemeal, right? That's what Caesars Palace has always been. It's what it always will be. And I think after, living here for so many years, I finally figured out the maze that is Caesars Palace. So I'm going to congratulate myself on that.
We found one person that got it figured out.
Also, while I was there, I noticed this big tubular steel thing being installed. And then I remembered we talked about the fact that Caesars got approval for this big giant screen. Think of a la the Horseshoe type screen that's there on the corner. And I saw them installing it. This is a giant. So this screen is going to be on one support, and this is a giant support.
It's just going to all be drowned out by the guitar, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. Just looking at the street, there are so many screens everywhere. And every show we talk about more screens. And, it's not just the Times Square. We talked about the Harmon Corner, how that was the Times Square of Las Vegas, but it really is everywhere. And just a reminder, Caesars does have another giant screen over by the Forum Shop. So this will be the second one.
It's kind of like you ever seen Ready Player One, where when the guy's like, hey, when we take over, this is what it's going to look like on everybody's VR set, where there's just ads everywhere, and we can get 80% ads before they stroke out. And that's kind of what it feels like the Strip's doing.
As a reminder, follow us on social media. We're not just here on YouTube, but we are putting out shorts across TikTok, Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. So if you want to see my happenings around Vegas, what I'm doing, make sure to follow me at MTM Vegas on Twitter. But just follow us all over social media. Help us grow. Help support the channel. And if you do, then you will get great advice like this tweet that I put out yesterday. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you can use the McDonald's app at the McDonald's on the Strip. Went and got my $1 iced coffee, beat a $10 Starbucks. It was great, but I think a lot of people don't know this, and I'm not 100% on which apps for which fast food places work on the Strip, so people can chime in the comments. McDonald's, not just for coffee. I mean, you can get cheap breakfast there. Any app deal that you have in the McDonald's app works there.
Yeah, I think it's a great place to grab breakfast in the morning, especially after a late night, and you can do it cheap and quick, and there's several McDonald's on the Strip they can go into, but if you can maximize it with an app, $1.50 iced coffee is insane. I'm kind of jealous because I don't have that in my app anymore. They took it away for a bit. That's a great deal. Or even like a Starbucks, if you can redeem your Star Points while you're in Vegas, the prices are usually higher than they are at home, so save them up and redeem them there. And any other app that kind of works the same way, I would try to maximize while you're on the trip.
And a large iced coffee at the Starbucks at Caesars Palace, $9.35. So a big difference in cost. And chime in the comments, which apps do you use? Which deals do you use at national chains when you're on the Strip to save some money?
Another thing I like to do when I'm in Vegas is I go to the Capital One Cafe sometimes to pull money out of the ATM or to deposit money in the ATM there in the mall. But also, you get if you have a Capital One card, debit card, half off drinks there. They have some pretty good coffees and everything. So if you're walking through that area or just happen to be around there, it's a great place to grab some caffeine for half price.
Yeah, it's definitely great. A nice atmosphere there, and it's in the Fashion Show Mall, very close to the Strip entrance, so not too difficult to get to. But let's head out to Henderson and Sunset Station, the casino I probably visit most often. And they just debuted their new bar that replaced the Club Madrid. So they really opened up the casino more, and you can see what it looks like. A lot of TV screens there. Remember, Sunset Station also has what I think is the best sports book in Las Vegas. I will say that. The best sports book area. I know Circa probably doesn't like to hear that, but I love the sports book there. They've been slowly renovating this property for the last 2 years, and I've watched it happen piece by piece. Someday I'll do a full walkthrough with you, but they just announced the Gaudi bar. This is the famous center bar is getting renovated. They're going to keep the architectural style, the stained glass, but modernize it. And this property, people, it should be on your radar. They've taken it from sort of a mid-tier property up to not quite the level of GVR or Red Rock, but it's very nice. And it has European bathroom stalls now, Mark. So you got full walls on the stalls.
There you go. That's tough to find these days. So it's always nice when you don't see people's feet when they're doing their business or whatever. The main bar, the casino bar, it's nice. It kind of looks like a lot of other casino bars, nothing special. The Gaudi bar looks phenomenal. I'm really excited to see what this is when it's all said and done. I would hang out there, check out there. It feels cozy and intimate, but yet cool and sleek. So I'm excited to see the end product.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what they were going to do with this because they hadn't announced it first, and they've been redoing the casino forever, and then it sort of looked different than the rest of the casino. So I'm happy they're updating it and keeping the style because it is one of the more unique bars in all of Las Vegas, and they are redoing the table game area that's in there, so they've moved those temporarily. But a lot going on there. If you haven't been there in a while, check it out. And back to the Strip, a little bit all over the place here today. But let's start with this, Mark. I finally got to see the Flamingo carpet, that entrance, and it looks sexy, man. It looks better in person than it did in the pictures.
That's good to hear. I think are we about to do like a whole little carpet run right now?
Yeah, I didn't have the Flamingo carpet on there, but I figure we're on the carpet section of the video here, which brings me to Palazzo. I got over there to check out their new carpet. So previously they had this lighter blue with rings style carpet, and now they have a much more vibrant blue. It almost seems like they stole Fontainebleau's deep blue design language, but I like it a lot, and it looks great. And it's a subtle improvement because it's not a huge change in the scheme, but it's definitely better.
I do. I mean, when you look at the old carpet versus the new carpet, I really like this kind of shift from where it was just the repetitive, the same thing over and over with the rings. I mean, it looks fine. It's nice enough, but I like this change to where there's different versions of things coming in and going out, and it just adds more of a vibe to it, I feel like, and less just kind of boring and mundane. So I think it looks great.
Yeah, I was looking at the Venetian, and the red carpet over there does not look nearly as nice as this new sexy blue carpet over at Palazzo. And I agree with you. We've seen through all of these new carpets, even going back to Luxor a couple years ago, New York, more variation in the patterns, and it does make it look a lot nicer, and the more vibrant colors too.
Yeah, and it seems like they've been holding up so far pretty well, so that's good to see. And I think they figured out the color schemes, doing bright blues but dark enough that it should hide dirt and stains and all the other things that are spilled on a casino floor.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. Next month, we are relaunching, changing the tiers, adding more content for everybody. But for everybody who supports us currently, all of our current patrons through the end of January, you'll get locked into all the new benefits. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. Join, support the channel, and get all kinds of cool stuff. More details coming soon. One of the coolest things of the past in Las Vegas was free slot pools, right? You'd go to a casino, you sign up. Sometimes they had it right out on the corner. I remember Slots of Fun back in the day had a big slot machine right out there on the Strip. And it was a great thing. And Binion's, I think they kept it alive longer than most. I think they stopped in 2020, and they just brought it back. They said free spins return to Binion's for the first time since 2020. Once a day, everyone 21 and up will have a chance to spin and win up to 500 in free slot play. I have to think, Golden Gate's doing something with their happy hour where you can get free slot play. It's interesting to see more of this coming. At least you're getting a little something to go in the door.
Yeah, I think it's a throwback to the olden days, which everybody loves. And I think this is cool that it's not once per year, once per month, or once per trip or anything like that. If you're staying down there by Fremont Street, you could go every day and Maybe you get lucky, get a little bit of money each day. I'm sure most of the time it's going to be just a couple bucks, but if you can get a free lunch out of it when it's all said and done, I think that's worthwhile. If you're walking by, stop in there, do the pull, hope for the best.
I mean, we can't stop talking about Binions and Four Queens. I don't under. It's just the way that they do marketing. It's just the way that they reach us. I don't understand why these other casinos don't figure this out. But that's the reason we talk about them. And I mean, I don't particularly spend a ton of time in Binions or Four Queens. I kind of like the old school style. I like the no resort fees, but they're winning at social media despite their 1990s MS Paint style.
I mean, Tim's the man. He's doing it. He's doing it right.
Yeah, he certainly is. And go visit them, go support them, and go take your free slot pool. And let's close with this, the story of Matthew Boyer and Ohtani and his translator. And we talked about Bill Crackman and his whole interview with Boyer. And I think that's a great interview to go watch. I remember watching the interview and Boyer being a little conceited about the whole thing and how he would come back from it. And yeah, you should go watch that yourself. Bill did an incredible interview with him, and you get a lot of insight into that world. And he was, a legal bookmaker. I believe he's pled guilty to that. So I think we can say that. And, allegedly did all kinds of crazy things, led to millions of dollars of fines to several Vegas casinos. And now he probably will be in the black book. They have recommended that he goes into the black book, and they're going to meet in a couple weeks. And then he will be banned from all casinos in Nevada.
I'm kind of surprised this hadn't happened already.
Yeah, I wonder if it just took time for this to filter through and for all the cases and the investigation. I don't really know what the story is, why it took so long. CDC Gaming had a great article on this with a lot of quotes from the leaders in the Gaming Control Board. For example, Mike Dreitzer, who is the board chair, said, "I normally wouldn't give much airtime to this individual in this particular setting. However, I think it's important to note that the board is taking an action that goes to the core and heart of Nevada's gaming regulatory mission, the protection of integrity of gaming, the confidence of the public, and the reputation of the state as the gold standard of gaming regulation."
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting quotes in there. Like one, why is he getting less time than the guy that was betting for Ohtani, or betting with Ohtani's money, I should say. And
allegedly.
Then allegedly. And they kind of made a point that the properties needed to be more on top of this, a better job, that they're really going to be coming after whoever's in charge of compliance at all these properties. And I think they've already shown that with these fines and cracking down in ways that we've never seen before. So I think they're going to stay to that, and we'll have to see if everybody starts to play by the rules a little bit more and doesn't turn a blind eye to people coming in and losing a ton of money. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff came from this.
And speaking of the Krakenberger interview, he did a lot of interviews around that time, and he was promoting his book, and the board really didn't like that. They said, according to CDC Gaming, they ripped Boyer for promoting his book and seeking a movie deal upon his release from prison. And that goes on to talk about while the other guy got the 4-year sentence and he only got a year. So yeah, they clearly don't like this guy, and he is going to be banned. And just as a reminder, there are 37 people currently on the black book. I believe your name comes out of the book when you die.
That's kind of crazy. I would think it would be a lot more than that. So I'm surprised that it's only 37. But yeah, I don't know how you could get mad about him writing a book about this. That's what, like, I feel anybody that has a high profile case ends up doing a book, sometimes a movie. It's just kind of par for the course. What are you going to do to stop it?
I mean, based on what we saw with those interviews back when, do you think he learned any lessons at all?
No. And he's probably going to make more money off the book than he ever did before.
There you go. Life isn't fair, but let us know in the comments what you guys think about Boyer and that whole situation. Does he deserve to be in the black book? Caesar's Palace, the construction, a new screen going in, the frontage being blocked, the carpet over Palazzo, everything else we discussed, leave a comment. Starting next week, we are doing 3 shows a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 2 shows with Mark, 1 solo show with me, other bonus videos mixed in as well. So more content from MTM Vegas. If you do like the show, please subscribe. It helps us reach more people. Just hit the subscribe. Many of you, thousands of you, are not subscribed that watch this show every single time. Thanks for watching, and talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Special episode coming out this weekend, too.